If the political career of Donald Trump has any more public funerals, it's going to be named an honorary Kennedy. But every election year, including at least one where he emerged victorious, we're honestly expected to be persuaded that the outrage du jour is somehow the silver bullet that will sink the SS Orange Man, like an awkwardly mixed metaphor. And I mean, how well have any of these attacks truly stuck when you really think about them? Does anyone left or right honestly entertain the notion of E. Jean Carroll being assaulted by anyone but Father Time? In a Trump sexual Rolodex full of 9s and 10s, this bitch is a pound sign. The Russia shit was always slapped together with scotch tape, chicken wire, and spit, and the latest movement in that increasingly shrill aria lasted about as long as a bottle of Yoo-Hoo in Movie Bob's mini fridge. Stormy Daniels' lurid descriptions of the Don's dong had legs, until the public realized paying a woman to shut up isn't a crime, it's alimony. Look, I know the Teflon Don eponym gets passed around like Stormy Daniels, but it's that way for a reason. Unlike everything they throw at him, it sticks. But of all the allegations against the man, none is quite so anemic or uninspired as the word unelectable. The problem with the Trump ain't electable aphorism is really threefold. The first and arguably largest snag of which being, oh, that's right, he already fucking was. Though the number of times he was elected varies depending on your personal willingness to believe districts in Philadelphia can organically boast a higher percentage voter turnout than in African dictatorships where voting is required by law under penalty of pound me in the ass prison. Point being, it's tough calling someone unelectable when they're already a former president, but that's the mainstream media Superboy Punch reality shift which we presently inhabit. Now the second snag, well, fucking look at the mainstream GOP alternatives.
Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased, and yet your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Tim Scott couldn't sell beans in a farting contest, and Chris Crisco thinks this is a farting contest. The sight of Chris Christie boarding Air Force One would make me doubt the very physics of flight. Fortunately for us all, the only way he's getting to the White House is with a hydraulic forklift and a tour guide, which brings me to Heavy D. Now, I like DeSantis a hell of a lot and have zero issue whatsoever with him running for president in this or frankly any other election cycle. He's been a good enough governor for Florida to more than earn that right. But as time drags on and he slides from frontrunner status to, hey guys, wait for me, it's clear his campaign has more shitbags than a colostomy ward. An ironic twist, considering his most effective angle of attack against Trump is to critique his inability to fumigate the fuckbags in his own midst when he had the chance. A criticism that would be utterly awash in all validity provided it was uttered by anyone other than Ron Jeb Bush fundraisers by the fuckload DeSantis. Not that Ron doesn't have his very own peccadillos. I mean, have you seen his unscripted moments with the average voter, wearing lifts and leading the hosannas at the local VFW bingo hall? You couldn't drive a dust mite up DeSantis' ass with a jackhammer, which wouldn't be a weakness if the man he was running against didn't happen to be a charisma singularity. I don't care if the mere mention of Trump's name makes you shit blood. Be honest and admit that when he tucks away the crass New Yorker shtick and switches on that bloated blood orange charm, the man could sell Flavor Flav an Apple Watch. Which brings us to BS number 3, and that is the mainstream misunderstanding of who Trump is and what he represents. At the end of the day, the Don is just a dude. He inherited his movement from many others. MAGA is an amalgamation and inheritor of everything from the Paleocon Goldwater movement, just a dash of early 80s Reagan, a generous peppering of the 90s Buchanan Brigade, and most recently, the Tea Party. In short, if you strike him down, his movement will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Just as every cackling cuck on Comedy Central devoting 1,100 varieties of lazy-ass jokes to taking down the Tea Party, still, at the end of the day, silenced fucking no one. Seasons change, men wither and die, movements and ideas endure. So I'm sorry, Never Trumpers. I'm afraid you're fucking stuck with him. If not now, then from beyond the grave, because he didn't throw this party. He subsumed it, just as he has the GOP. And as time wears on and the hour hand races around its axis, it's become increasingly clear that the only people who haven't yet received that particular memo are the Republican Party themselves. Whether you should elect Donald Trump is a question only you can answer, and which voters will doubtless vary on. But the mainstream GOP arguing that he isn't electable when he's the only man in the entire Politico pile who actually already has is like Philip DeFranco telling Bill Hicks to get an edge. But perhaps the most unctuous aspect of this belief is the simultaneous assertion that Trump winning in 2016 was a fluke. But Trump, being the first incumbent president in history to add 10 million votes to his total and lose, was not. Being this bad at knowing what a fluke smells like can mean only one thing. You've clearly never spent any time in a sauna with Stormy Daniels. Will he get elected? Maybe. Can he get elected? He already fucking has. And persisting in the delusion that he hasn't, or that some world-rending event is so irreparably turned female boomers off more than an Access Hollywood pussy tape dropped hours before an election day doesn't make you committed. It doesn't make you more worldly than the plebs or a 4D fucking chess master. It makes you more full of shit than Biden's diaper at the Vatican. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.